A common issue with boards is that they have limited time together on their own. And of course, that time together is really important. It helps build relationships between directors. They get to know each other better and they get to understand the different perspectives they're bringing to issues. It's also a good way for directors to be able to discuss more contentious matters. They can discuss their performance as a board, and of course they can also discuss the performance of management. So the main way by which boards have time together is through in-camera sessions. And by that I mean a directors only session, or in the case of a board with a managing director, often it's a session of just the non-executive directors. I see different practices about how these in-camera sessions are held, and there's no right or wrong, and in fact there's absolutely no need to have an in-camera session. But my personal preference is to have a standard agenda item for an in-camera session at the beginning of each meeting. And the reason I say a standard agenda item, even if it's only for 10 or 15 minutes, is it just creates a pattern, it helps with management's timing of the agenda, and it doesn't create an unease that all of a sudden the board is calling for an in-camera session, which might cause management to wonder what's going on, whether there's an issue with their performance that hasn't been disclosed, etc. The other benefit of having the in-camera session at the beginning of the meeting is it really helps the chair to manage the agenda. Directors can talk about the fact that they might have, for example, an issue with a particular paper, or they might think that a particular item needs longer discussion. In turn, the chair can pass that on to the CEO, gives the CEO a heads up about what they might expect throughout the board meeting. Holding an in-camera session at the end of the meeting serves a different purpose. It's more a meeting debrief for the board to be able to talk about how the meeting progressed, how management performed in the meeting. I do see some executive managers and CEOs in particular get quite uneasy about the board meeting in camera, and I think sometimes that's because of how it's handled. You don't want the in-camera session to become overly long, and certainly you don't want it to become a meeting within a meeting. Quite rightfully, management wants to be present when the board's discussing substantive matters. It's also good practice, I think, for the chair to be able to share as much as they can without breaching broad confidentiality, what some of the insights are coming out of the in-camera session with the CEO. And of course, at the end of the day, management gets to talk about issues relating to the company every day of the week amongst themselves. An in-camera session is the only way, really, that the board gets that same opportunity.